Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to Rytis MARTIKONIS, who is the Director General of DG Translation, who is joining me now. Nice of you to join us. Thank you.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Aminda, once again.
Yes, it's nice to be back. Well, this is actually the 8th Translating Europe Forum that your DG has organised. And as we've already started hearing, this year's topic is automation and collaboration in a rapidly changing translation environment. Could you share with us to start off this session with your views on the relevance of this topic, and also give us an idea of what DG Translation is currently doing in this area?
Oh, I mean, these are very good questions. I will not be able to handle that in 20 minutes because we said this must be a flash. This must be a flash and, in a way, an act, of two parts. As the title of the session shows, this is my moment, in a way, to welcome everybody back, but also the second part of these 20 minutes is about the EMT challenge, and I'm eagerly sharing the time. The previous panel of yours were saying, what young people ought to be at the same level as experienced ones. I think this second part is also important. Can you hear me well?
No, because, we can't actually. You're breaking up a little bit.
Shall I try to speak slower?
Yes, I mean, I've got a message on my screen saying that your bandwidth is a bit low, so hopefully it'll work. But okay. we certainly don't want to miss you. We want to be able to hear what you're saying.
No, but back on track. I think that what we are seeing here is exactly what is behind the basic idea of TEF, bringing together the industry, the public sector, translation, academia, young, and also experience, professorship, as well as students. I'm glad to see that a good number of European Union institutions, translators, and services are here. So this is the basic idea of TEF. And as you said, this is the 8th time, second time online. We are all learning to live in these hybrid situations. We are not out of the woods, and I think this will be the feature of our life for the foreseeable future, sitting not at 2, but at 3 or 4 screens, looking at some of the things in our iPads, in our iPhones. This is part and parcel of what we are doing. Now, automation and collaboration. I think this is a perfect topic because automation is all around us, but it cannot happen, and it is in a way meaningless without collaboration. We're very intentional and sort of mindful in putting these two together. Automation is all around us, whether we talk workflow, whether we talk translation, but also I think this is about the project management, and we are looking ever more in this regard. The same goes to collaboration. Collaboration in delivering on projects, collaboration in mastering the tools, collaboration in terminology. This is, I mean, the two sides of the same coin. For this year, however, I'm in particular looking to the sessions where we'll be seeing the workflow automation. I mean, when you ask what we think, what we do in DGT, I think the quick answer would be, with automation, we try to attack the routine. Repetitive tasks, handling big volumes, that's what we need algorithm, that's what we need memories to help us with. On the other hand, we're handling an increasing amount of non-linguistic data, workflow. And in this regard, I think a couple of sessions later, tomorrow and the day after, is of a particular interest. I mean, tomorrow we have a session on public translation services and automation. This is something that we will be increasingly doing, and also in the translation service of the European Commission. No doubt, European Commission is a big body, is a big behemoth, one would say. And again, we need both. We need tools which would talk to each other, and not only the translation tools, but the tools helping the decision making. Yeah? But we also need collaboration. We need people across the different services of the Commission, making sure that political projects, important statements, important decisions of the European Commission, are taken, with participating of numerous services. I mean, from drafters to translators, from those who are checking the legal part of it, to those who are ensuring that the consultation works. And in that sense, I wanted also to point one more thing from your previous panel, Aminda. I think it was Arle Lommel who was making an important point, which I feel pretty strongly about, because language profession, we as language professionals, I think we are in the midst of it. We are in the midst of digital transformation. We are in the midst of putting the technology and human side of the matters together. Differently sometimes from the policy DGs, from departments running the policy, we see that change and we see the adaptation, being made possible by us, but we also are a part of this in learning, constantly adjusting. I think this brings us to the second part of my story, so to say. And I'd like to invite 6 Finnish students, 5 of them from Turku University, be scattered in different parts of Europe, but bit by bit I see Atu, I see Hanneli, Mayu, Lina, Sana, and of course in the background I can recognize Professor Lena Salmi from Turku University. Welcome to all of you. Great to see you all. And let me say to the colleagues to this about. You can see in my background in DGT we have a competition of students, school students of translation. It's called the Juvenes Translatores, where we put as a challenge basically the simplest of translation. We give a page or two and we say, why don't you students, pupils translate? Then we thought, but what about students of universities? What about students of master degrees? And EMT board, together with LIND, our language industry branch, came together in saying, we put forward a task and see how the students would take that challenge. And this year, the challenge was to imagine the perfect computer-assisted translation environment. And we put together the team of experts, the jury, 10 or so, from DGT, from LINT, from EMT. I'm very happy to see that 5, 6 of them will be taking different roles also in TEF. I see Sandra Ribeiro from Portugal in our midst. I see Jota Georgokopoulou, Tomasz Svoboda. Jota is from wait, what is this? Am I still on?
Yes, we can still hear you. It's just, I think maybe you've got bandwidth problems, so we can't see
from
you.
The platform that the host has taken off. Let me still do it as long as you hear me. That it was good to put together Jota Georgokopoulou from Athens Translation Company, Tomasz Svoboda from EMT from Prague, Dieter Rummel from our IT unit, Lucio Banulo will be doing a networking session right after this from Amnesty International. For me, this is once again the best of TEF, bringing experience and youth curiosity together, bringing the experience of industry with the curiosity and energy of students. So once again, without any further ado, and myself somewhat out of the picture, I pass the floor to Atu. But before that, I say congratulations to all of you, and a small surprise, which is a prize for your win, is on the way. And what it is, what it is now, in these days, it's an iPad. It's an iPad which I'm sure all of you will be able to use at your best. Once again, thanks for the jury. Thanks to a good number of students who joined it, but your project on organizing the project management was deemed best and perfectly fitting the topic of this year's TEF. Atu, I see you well. Take the floor.
Thank you very much for your kind words, for your introduction, the prize as well, of course. And I am also very grateful of the invitation we have received to get here. And we will now briefly present. I'm joined by my colleagues over from Turku, who are there as a group, as well as Laura Arnio, who will be in some corner of the screen. And if I now am allowed to share the screen, which I'm apparently not allowed to do. So technical support, I would look your way. Thank you. So we are, as a unit, we are Team Translatorio. And for our EMT challenge project, we created a pitch for a product, which is Verso. Now, Verso, this is a funny sounding word, but that is simply Finnish for sprout, which is where all this imagery comes from. And since we've talked a fair bit about project management here, it is in fact a project management solution to improve the workflow in translation companies. Now, the way this project originated was that most of us, you will see, are from the University of Turku, including myself. And we took part in a simulation that lasted for a year, and during which we worked as a translation company and everything that entails. By the end of that year, we had realized that running a translation company has a lot to do with things that are not translation, that has to do with project management, of course. And we had also noticed that there's a lot of juggling we have to do. So we have to go one way to get the translation memories, one way to get the terminology, one way to talk to the clients, and so forward. So at the end of our year, we sat down to innovate, and we talked about, okay, how could we make this more streamlined to be really focused on simply translating and delivering the clients quality work. And what we created was our little sprout, which we can illustrate as fittingly a sprout, which you will see over here. You will notice this diagram consists of 3 parts in total. There are the roots of the sprout, there's some water coming from up there, and then there's the sprout itself. Now, what the water coming up from up there represents, that is the client. So when our tool is accessed by the client, they will need to input what kind of project do they need to get done, possibly the source text, if that is available. And based on that input, our program, which is now represented by the roots, will use any and all company resources as well as AI to generate a source text analysis. And based on this source text analysis, the project manager of the company is going to have a summary. And that summary is going to include preliminary details about the project. So for instance, what might the timetable look like? What about the budget? Who might work on this project? And since all this information is coming preliminary to the project manager, that should make the process of starting that project a lot more streamlined and get the project going as soon as possible. Once the project is complete, you will notice there's a little arrow that goes from the sprout back to the roots. And that has to do with the fact that we want the system to also be able to learn from the past projects, and as such, improve any future source text analysis. Now, the concept is of course all well and good, but we also wanted to give you something a bit more practical. So I will just show you a succession of slides which represents what the user interface might look like in our program. Now, let's imagine we are the project manager and we want to log into the Verso system. So this is what we're going to see. In the menu, you'll notice the project manager will have a nice overview of everything going on in that company at that time. So there will be a calendar for upcoming deadlines, messages from translators, maybe a request for a new project by a client, or which we will investigate right now, is up there in the top left corner. You will notice we are clicking with that cursor on an ongoing project. So let's imagine now we're clicking on the ongoing project, and we will come to a menu which we can then scroll down in and see at a glance everything going on with that project. So what is the financial aspect? What does that look like? Who is currently working on the project? What are the translation memories that are being used? Is everything going according to plan, according to timetable? And at the very end, we have what we like to call nourishing the sprout, which refers to downloading a summary, which the project manager can do for any later reference. And finally, of course, click on the nice big button at the very bottom of the page to complete the project. That would be our main idea as a concept and as a user interface. A very brief introduction to what we want this program to be able to do. Thank you on my behalf. There will be a little section here in the plenary session where my colleagues will be answering questions, and we will also be taking part in the networking afterwards. So in case you have any questions, you may try to contact us here on the platform, or if you do not manage that, you can also at any time drop us a message at teamtranslatorio@gmail.com. I thank you on my behalf, and over to you.
Artu, thank you so much. Well done. Well done. You know, still picking it on what Aminda was asking a while ago, you know, what do you do in DGT? Once again, we are also looking at end-to-end platform. You know, we want to improve our workflows to automate the routine, but also putting together all steps and tasks of our translation that we are doing. Good project. But tell me, quickly, since Aminda is watching the time, and it's getting late in Helsinki. It's still late afternoon in Porto, but what attracted you to take part in this competition, so to say, in this challenge?
Yes. Hello. Yes. One of our colleagues, Laura Arnio, is unfortunately currently not visible to you, but she would like to answer this question.
Yeah.
Laura?
Laura, just unmute your microphone and we should be able to hear you.
Yes, hello. So I'm still not visible, but I guess that doesn't matter. So yes,
Go ahead. Yes.
our project Verso was actually born before we heard about the EMT challenge in this translation business simulation course in University of Turku. And then when we heard about this challenge, we thought it would be a great opportunity to have a concrete goal for us to start thinking about this idea a bit further and maybe get a clearer picture of what we want to do with it. So we made this presentation also for ourselves to get a project idea going a bit further. And we are very happy that you saw something interesting and some potential in our project, and we are very grateful for the win. And this has also given us a lot more confidence in our own ideas and to develop this further. Thank you.
Yeah, once again, it was a decision and a nice collaborative effort from a team of evaluators. But then look, I mean, in echoing a bit of what we were seeing in the questions in the very first session, what do you think about your future plans? What are they? Do you see yourselves working as translators, as project managers? What's on your minds?
So all of our immediate futures are tied to finishing our master's thesis and completing our studies. But once we are all done with that, we would like to continue working with our project with Verso. And the logical next step for the project would be to find mentors in the fields of translation, IT and development, even business, and just grow the project and make it into something concrete, make it into a real company, perhaps real product that we can actually market and be proud of.
Excellent, excellent. Look, I think you have done a right thing, at least in two regards. First, you took an initiative. You made the first steps in trying something. But also, my second point, you worked as a team. You worked as a team, and this is something which I wish you to continue. This is something which echoes, I think, very importantly, and for the start of this Translating Europe Forum is exactly the message. Collaboration is needed to produce the different tools that make our life and our profession promising, challenging, and I would say enjoyable. So congratulations once again. Thank you for taking the effort. And Aminda, with this, even if I am not recovering my view, but I still see you all quite well. And oh, here we go. I return the floor to you, Aminda. This is our little contribution. Struggling a bit with the platforms, but under the circumstances, I think we're doing well.
Thank you very much indeed. And in fact, it's actually, I don't think it's the platform. I think it's the internet connections around Europe are not always stable enough to be able to let us see video and audio, even though we would have thought that would have been sorted out in the pandemic, but unfortunately not. So thank you for your contribution. I'm sorry we couldn't see you all the time. And the same to you, Laura. Thank you. And congratulations to the Sprout team. I like like the idea of nourishing your sprouts in the project management. Certainly makes project management more interesting. So congratulations to you. Now, we're almost at the end of our formal sessions, but that does not mean that TEF has finished, because over the next hour, there are going to be a series of networking sessions running. You can meet your industry peers informally in a virtual space and in moderated thematic breakout rooms. And in fact, we know this is one of the things that you find most important about TEF. Just reading you a couple of quotes from past feedback, TEF has become the annual highlight of professional excellence in translation and interpreting, and it provides one of the best environments for discussing hot potatoes and do quality networking with highly esteemed colleagues. And we know that a lot of people want to learn from professionals and develop their network for their future career. We've already been hearing how important that is in this first part of TEF. So this is an opportunity for you to start doing that. So there will be, as we've already heard, a dedicated networking session for the winning EMT Challenge students, and that's going to be called Automation for the Next Generation. And LIND experts Lucio Bagnolo and Claudia Chiaretta will share their views on project management tools and automation, and will give their feedback on their project to the Translatorio team. That session is also open for other participants in TEF if you want to join in and you want to hear about the future of project management. But active participation with audio and video connections is limited to 12 people at a time. There are also other networking sessions on offer for you. They revolve around the following subjects. We've got how it works, hybrid working environment, futuristic perspectives. We have what's new in education and machine augmented translation. To go and join the networking sessions, all you need to do is to go to the breakout rooms option on the left-hand side of your screen in the menu, and then you just choose the session and you'll be able to listen, chat, and join the debate with your video when prompted by the moderator. And of course, don't forget to check out the profiles for the one-to-one networking meetings that the platform's AI has picked for you, and set up those meetings. And remember to accept, reschedule or decline the meetings. Don't just leave them hanging there. We need some human intervention, please. That's important. So tomorrow, Thursday, the 4th of November, TEF 21 starts again at 9 AM with the video tutorial on how to get the most out of this event platform. If you've already seen that, the first session actually starts at 9:10 sharp, when we'll be hearing about the newest and most important developments in the area of automation and collaboration, and all about that team working that we've just seen now with the EMT Challenge students. So until then, tomorrow morning, this is me, Aminda Lee, closing this session and wishing you all very successful networking.